Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am so excited to be here tonight. I am Dr. Jada Jackson, licensed mental health counselor, and we're going to be talking about a hot topic tonight. So, as you all come on in, listen, I'm going to roll up my sleeves, get ready, because at the end of the day, this is not a topic that is for the faint at heart. If you don't know it, I'm going to let you know. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental Health Awareness Month. And during times like this, I like to pick a topic that's hot in the news and kind of break it down. And what we're talking about tonight is fear, love, and abuse, the psychology behind toxic love. Now, I just want to know, for those of you in the chat, want to know, listen, have you ever been in a toxic relationship? Have you ever been in a toxic relationship? Most of y'all should be shooting your hands up real quick, because at the end of the day, all of us in some way have been in a toxic relationship. So at the end of this opening, I'm going to bring up a couple of people I'm going to interview about toxic relationships, but I'm also going to ask them to just chime on in and get ready to have this deep conversation. So I was thinking, I was thinking about just years and years and years and years ago, maybe even in another life. I was thinking about a relationship that I was in. And when you enter into a relationship, you don't just automatically know that the relationship is toxic. You don't know. And so I started seeing signs. Now my gut told me, my instinct told me, this blank is crazy. This dude is crazy. Something's a little off, but sometimes you like to give people the benefit of the doubt. You just want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and you say, you know what? Um, I just want to see. I just want to make sure that the crazy is actually the crazy that I see. But yes, we are talking about breaking chains, understanding toxic love, and cultivating healing relationships. And so, even if you're in a healthy relationship now, how many of you know that being in a relationship also means that you have the tendency of pulling some of that toxicity that you've gone through in a previous relationship into your current relationship? Yep, that is possible. And so let's get into this. We're talking about P. Diddy and all of the issues that took place. Now, I want to set the stage here because, first of all, let me say, I am not an attorney. All of these are allegations, and we are not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I'm just talking about what we know about the toxic relationship between Sean Diddy Combs, Cassandra Ventura, and what's Diddy's ex-wife's name? Somebody tell me. What's Porter? Kim Porter. So those are the three, and J Lo, and J Lo, and J Lo. Those are the three. So let me recap. J Lo, Cassandra Ventura, Kim Porter. That's what we're talking about. But let's just look at the details for a minute. Let's just look at everything we know about this crazy case and the allegations and the, like, wow, like this has just been blowing me away. So here's everything we know about Cassie's civil lawsuit against Diddy. Okay, so Sean Diddy Combs faces allegations of rape, assault, sex trafficking, and repeated physical abuse by his former girlfriend, Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, in a civil lawsuit filed on Thursday in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, according to the court's document obtained by the Los Angeles Times. So the singer also mentions Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Combs Enterprises LLC, and Epic Records as additional defendants in the suit. According to the complaint, the pair met in 2005 when Cassie was 19 years old. 19 years old. I'm going to say it again, 19 years old. And the then 37-year-old Combs formed a professional and romantic relationship with the singer after taking interest in her music career. Let me just say, 19 years old. Why is that important? Because your brain isn't even fully formed and developed at 19 years old. You're still a little girl. Why is that important when it comes to toxic relationships? Because relationships, believe it or not, are about power. There's always a power dynamic within the construct of a relationship. So if she's 19 years old, my question is, was she looking at Diddy as her daddy? No pun intended, P Daddy. No pun intended. But think about it. Was there potentially a dynamic of father daughter? Was she looking for a dad? Was she looking for someone? Because remember, women, what we like security, we like safety, and all the things, right? And so I think that it is just important to note that at 19 years old, that is a challenge. I see Adrian said, I don't know if our brain is fully developed when we are 29 years old, better yet, 19 years old. So yeah, that's the truth. Okay, so let's get back into this. So again, I just want to lay the foundation for what we're talking about. I want to lay the foundation for what we're talking about. So let's get back into the storyline. So after years in silence and darkness, I'm finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships, Cassie said in a statement, according to the New York Times. With the now here, this is interesting because New York's Adult Survivors Act is crucial. So here we have, it says, with the expiration of New York's Adult Survivors Act fast approaching, it became clear that this was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life, she added. So Cassie filed the suit under New York's Adult Survivors Act, enacted in late November 2022. So here's what I think is key. The law allows accusers a 1-year window to file civil claims of sexual abuse against their accusers after the statute of limitations has ended. So This is very interesting because there have been many people who came out and said, well, Cassie was with Diddy off and on for 10 years, and why is she going to wait now in order to come forward? And as a mental health counselor and someone who's a trauma therapist, one of the things that I know is that victims of abuse, whether it's physical, emotional, psychological, financial, sexual, you name it, victims don't always come forward because of a lot of reasons: humiliation, fear. There's a lot of reasons why people don't come forth, which makes the cycle of abuse even more toxic. And so, um, when I think about it, I wanted to address this issue because there are so many of us who have been in toxic relationships. There are those of us who are still bearing the scars of a toxic relationship. And so as we dive into the nature of the toxicity of these relationships, we want to understand the signs, the reasoning for why maybe we've done something. Maybe some of you aren't fully healed from your toxic relationship, but I want to discuss how we can transition toward healing and healthier connections. And again, that's whether you were in a toxic relationship previously, or you're in a toxic relationship now, or you're just here because you heard about P. Diddy's toxic relationship with three of his girlfriends and his wife and thought, I just want to hear what's going on. So, first of all, before I get into the details of the situation with Diddy, I'm gonna have Ronell come up for a moment. And yeah, Zach says money is power. Yes, yes, and yes. But believe it or not, power is power. You know, some people um, use their power in a way, in a variety of ways, but money is definitely at the top of the food chain when it comes to power. So, Ronell, I'm going to bring you up just for a minute, ask you a couple of questions just about your thoughts on toxic relationships. Hey, little brother, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, sis? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm not going to keep you. I know you're on the
I'm gonna
road.
be in and out. Yes, in and out, but I'm here for you. I'm
I,
before you. And boy, oh boy, this is a hot topic that I would love to dive into. And I don't know if we have enough time, and if the listeners are ready for what we have. We might have to do a part one, part two, part three
know
of this
you
type of
did say that.
conversation.
What do you think? Just, Zach said money is power. You know, he met Diddy met Cassie when she was 19. He was 37. I'm
Hmm.
just curious. I'm just curious. What are your thoughts, just from a male perspective? Just when just as much as and I'm not talking about so much of the allegations. I'm not really talking about the storyline, but like, what are your thoughts hearing all of this?
I mean, I definitely would agree with you that the power aspect and the money has a play in it. I think that oftentimes when a individual does have the finances to take care of another person or give them opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't have, that they are a lot more lenient on their the decisions that they make, the decisions that they make with being with that person, being in any relationship, and also, you know, being manipulated. Right? They allow for those things to happen, and instead of seeing those as red flags, they in somewhat ignore them and
Yeah.
ignore those things. And I think that's where if we define toxic, a toxic relationship It's, seeing those red flags, knowing those red flags, but following an emotion of fun, happy, excitement, and what a person can do for you. I think we allow that to cloud the judgment that we see, that is this person right for me? Right. I've
Mhm.
had conversations with many women, and it's been a, man, like, if you could do it all over again, would love be enough? Right? Like, would you being in love, like, would it make more sense for you to choose the person that was right for you, that made sense for you to be with, or the person that you just had fun with, you loved them, you felt something for them, blah, 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 but you see that they were, and you knew that they weren't the
Mhm.
right person for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just defining that and looking at even, my past as well, right? I mean, I think everyone has had a toxic relationship. That's the only way I believe you truly know, like, what a toxic relationship is to know that you were in one,
Hey,
right? Like,
right now,
hey,
we done watched each other go through some toxic stuff, haven't
man,
we, over the
what?
years?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, the craziness. And it's like,
Oh,
well, why would a person
brother.
why would we deal with that? Why would you stay in that?
Why?
Why would you, like, all of those questions are valid, but at the same time, it's that person is going to be and do what they want to do until they don't want it anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And to your point, I think you made a good point, but I want to, because when you said like define toxic relationship, there are some elements of a toxic relationship. And we've talked about Diddy and Cassie and Kim Porter and J Lo. And if you look at, their dynamic in, of course, I don't know if how much you all have kept up with the storyline, but
Hmm.
J Lo was with Diddy going into a club, holding the gun in her purse. Some lady says Diddy shot me in the face, and then it was
Hmm.
Diddy shot her in the face using the gun that was in J Lo's purse, and just a lot going on. And then even Cassie, I think he would have her hold the gun in her purse, and just a
Yeah.
lot of dysfunction along the way. But at the heart of toxic relationships, of course, are what we call these patterns of behavior that consistently, and here's the key, this is what makes it toxic, it undermines the safety and the well-being of your partner. Anything that undermines the safety and
Hmm.
well-being of your partner. Well, J Lo ended up going to jail because she's the one who was holding the gun that Diddy used to allegedly shoot the lady in the face. So
Hmm.
then you have to say, did did Diddy put these people in harm's way and did not look out for their best interest? And so here are some common characteristics. Number one is control.
Hmm.
So when we're talking about control, we're talking about somebody dictating how you dress, who you can see, where you can go, or even how you should think. Well, if you
Hmm.
look at Cassie's allegations, absolutely, absolutely, that's what she was saying. She's saying
Hmm.
how she was moving, she wasn't free. She didn't have autonomy. She
Hmm.
could do what she wanted to do and when she wanted to do it. And
Hmm.
so that was a challenge. And then there's dishonesty, just the pure dishonesty, which would include, you know,
Correct.
now I don't like
Ooh.
little black
Ooh.
lies, little white lies. I don't
Okay. Okay.
like little white lies, and I don't like
Uh-huh.
half truths.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you're in a toxic relationship, half truth, little white lies, flat out lies, lying by omission, all of those things. The reason why the motive and intent of the heart is meant to manipulate or deceive, and it breaks down the trust that you formed, and therefore you don't really have a foundation for a healthy relationship. And so that's one thing. Another element to toxic relationships would be disrespect. Uh,
Hmm. Absolutely.
Disrespect would simply be if you set some boundaries. And if you said, it really hurts me when you raise your voice at me. And so a boundary for me in the relationship with you is to ensure that you are able it ensures that you're able to trust that the other person is going to honor your boundaries. Well, remember, disrespect is a huge part of a toxic relationship. So if your boundaries are repeatedly cross violated or ignored, if you feel um, your feelings are consistently minimized, um, this shows that you as a person have been devalued. And I think that even in the allegations, that's some of what Cassie was saying. And then the fourth element is hostility. So the hostility component of it is just frequent, out of proportion anger and just attacks can create, obviously, a climate in one's relationship of fear and really um, unpredictability. Like if you don't know when your partner is going to, pop off, um, it really can be an issue. So with that being said, I'd love to know, for those of you who are in the chat, what do you think so far just about toxic relationships? Like what do you think? I see Zach said, isn't this more about illegitimate power? It could be, but power nonetheless. The power dynamic within the context of our relationships. And I used to say this all the time. Relationships, unfortunately, really are about power. Healthy relationships, what we want to do is ensure that there is a balance of power, and we are a team working toward the same common goal. That would be a space where we can go, oh, okay, this is a balance of power, which means we can work together to meet an ultimate goal. And so I love that Cassie was able to say, I finally came to a place to tell my story, because not every person is able to come forth and tell their story. And so with that being said, I am going to, I had another person I was bringing up, and all of a sudden, um, her video went out. Hold on. Oh, there she is. All right. Coming to the stage is the amazing Princess Monique.
What up, homie?
What's going on, girl? So,
Hey,
I want to pick your brain about all, because first of all, tell everybody who you are, where they can find you, and because she is in the entertainment industry, I want to pick her brain a little bit, see what she thinks. Yes, we are talking about toxic relationships, but we are also talking about that entertainment culture. So tell everybody who you are and what you do and all the good stuff.
Hi, everybody. I'm just starting to look in the chat and see some people. Some names I know, some I don't. Hey, Adrienne. I am Princess Monique Films in the entertainment industry. I am a producer, writer, director of television and film. I'm also, I newly can say, an award-winning author, and I wrote a book called.
Yes, congratulations. Tell them where they can get your book. I've been so proud of her.
Well, my friend won't even let me do my spill. Like, she always like tell them the stuff. Now I'm gonna tell them, Jada, you have me very well trained. I'm from Hollywood. No.
Yes.
But yeah, so I wrote a book called Hood to Hollywood: How to Stop Waiting to Be Discovered and Discover Yourself. And it is now available where all books are sold. So you can go on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. You can come on to my Instagram, which is at Princess Films with a Z, FILMZ. And you can find all things me there, from the book to my directing career to my nonprofit organization for African American female directors. I'm also a co-chair of the African American Steering Committee at the Directors Guild.
I just need to do this.
That's one of my favorite Bitmojis. They do the girl does that.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I know, it's a trip to say it all sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I did this. I did that. That's me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with all of that, you definitely have some knowledge, and so I just want to know, simple question, what do you think about this, like the Diddy allegations? I know you are a J-Lo fan.
Oh, I love the J-Lo.
I know you do. I know you do. I know you're a J-Lo fan, but again, J-Lo, Kim Porter. I mean, those allegations about the potential of Kim Porter's death not being an accident and all of these things, I'm just like, no, say it ain't so.
Oh,
but
what's it?
The TMZ,
the Tubi TMZ
documentary.
I didn't know it was alluded to. Her death was not
that one, but if you look at Surviving Diddy on Netflix, one of Diddy's one of the women that was close in the community, she alluded to it, and so did one other person. And so that shook me. I was like,
you're wrong for trying to get some light on my face, because you look so cute. My friend looked cute, so I put on makeup for y'all today. So I want you to see it. No, I'm literally going to here right after I leave here.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate you.
Okay, so let's dive into that. That's okay.
Yeah,
so
what do you think? What do you think?
One, I'm gonna say this. It's all very, 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 very sad, in the sense of whether you're a fan of Diddy or not a fan of Diddy, to see, like, all of us strive to do what he has done in the world of Hollywood, to come from pretty much nothing and make it to the top, and to be able to do all the things and be able to help other people and give jobs. And well, this is how I see it. I'm just looking from how I look at it. When I think about him, I personally haven't encountered Diddy personally, but I have been at events where he was there, and he is a very larger than life, take over the room type of individual. And to a certain extent, I was all kind of like, that's cool that you made it, you were celebrating it, and he seemed to have all this energy and all these different things. But then I sometimes think, like, he has what I call the four things. If you have money, power, fame, good looks, Lord. Man, people can, good looks is relative to whoever you say.
Whoever, yeah. It's a very personal experience. It's a very personal experience, but it's interesting you say that, because Zach mentioned, kind of that power dynamic as well. So, and I want
to have.
Thank you, Zach, for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Super stickers. Okay, I love it. I'm learning about this whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Hey, I'm telling you, YouTube, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So thank you for that, Zach. Keep going there. Keep going.
Okay, so just to see it from I'm still, even though I'm in Hollywood and I would see him and people like him, I still feel like I look from the outside in because I still don't know what that world is like out, what it's like on the day to day for that person to have a house in Miami and then in LA, and they're massive compounds, and then you have all these people working for you, and you have security, and so it's something that I still, even though I work in Hollywood, I got a nice house, but ain't nobody standing outside with a gun. I don't have to go places with a gun. I'm about to go to a career house. It's gonna be just me and my assistant. So I don't know that mega side, that billionaire side, but it's a concerning thing to see someone make it to a certain space, and then it kind of goes into that cliche, they built you up to tear you down, right? Or you get built up because of your strengths, and then your weaknesses tear you down. So I don't know.
Oh, that was good. Say that again.
I use my Jada, Dr. Jada brain right there.
Yeah, say that again.
Dr. Jada, everybody. I think I'm a baby. I'm so into this world. I love everything about it and understanding how people think and move. But I do think about, my Snowy wants to. I'm going to call for my Snowy real quick.
I know. We got the dogs bark. Mine too.
Don't you on the Zoom or the? Oh, am I by myself, Jada? Where'd she go?
Here I am.
Okay, there you go. Your dogs are barking too.
And
that's probably why Snowy just barked.
That's why Snowy's bark. Yeah. But tell my little nephew Snowy, I say, hey, baby.
Yeah, he's ready for me. It's bath day. But okay, so getting back into it. So as I climb the ladder, I look at these people. I mean, like as you said, I'm a J-Lo fan, and it's because J-Lo does a lot of things. She's like when I look at people who my business model, I look at Oprah and I say J-Lo, because it's like Oprah's pretty much structured, but then I'm like, I want to still be cute and be on the side of the bus like I just see. No, I don't want to do all that. But it's a beautiful poster of her. But she has style and she just does so many other things, but don't know on the other side of that what that looks like on the day to day.
Yeah.
But obviously these strengths get them to where they get to. But we all have weaknesses, and unfortunately the weaknesses that could be Diddy's weaknesses could tear everything down. And that's sad. And it's like anytime, if any of this stuff is true, you kind of say rightfully so, right? That it will tear you down.
And so to that point, when we're talking about, and I just want to go back to this power dynamic for a moment, because you mentioned 4 things. Just say it again. It was power, good looks, money.
To me is in order: money, power, fame, good looks. Like a good looks is the last one, because you don't have to have a good looks, and still these 3 to just make you whatever.
Right.
Some people, like they have so much money and so much power and fame, like God, they all of a sudden look good to you.
They look good.
You're like, they're not attractive. I didn't think they were attractive. Kind of nice. The right suit, the right haircut, the white weave. Things can happen.
I'm just saying. And so to that point, you've worked, and I've seen it. You've worked on so many amazing television shows. You've done incredible thing. You did Black Mafia, right?
BMF. Yeah.
Right
now, because I literally am going to go to a premiere, so I have a T-shirt on, and I was like, I don't want to be that sexy for y'all, so I put on a jacket.
So you've worked and you've been around. I know you've lived in Hollywood, because I've been there, and I've been to your home, and I've been to all the things, and you live the lifestyle. You really do, whether you're trying to downplay it a little bit right now, but you've been in the room. And so when we're talking about power dynamics within relationships, especially when we're talking about powerful men, my question to you is, what do you think personally these women are looking for in these powerful men?
That's a good question. A very good question. I think it becomes different things at different times, depending on where you are. I came here in my early 20s, and I came with a young brain and a lot of inexperience and a lot of awe of, oh, that's so and so, and oh my God, that's so and so when I first got here. And so at that time, because even my book, it says how to stop waiting to be discovered and discover yourself. So when I first came, it was about being discovered. I believe the Hollywood hype. You have to be discovered. I believed it. So I was like, I gotta go to Hollywood to be discovered, to be a star, all these different things I had in my young brain. And when you start experiencing a world that will feed off of your dream, it disappoints you in such a major way. It makes you realize that, oh, people are going to say, well, I'm a this producer, I'm a this, I'm a that. Well, okay, come to this party, come do this. And you're thinking, you're networking, you're thinking, oh, this is the things you're supposed to do to further your career. And then you get boxed in. I've definitely been boxed in. When I'm being boxed in, we have called it in the past casting couch. They'll put you in that position and you got to make a choice.
Yep.
And as the Me Too movement came about, I would say that energy came less towards me, but it doesn't stop. It don't stop to this day.
Exactly.
But I'm so like, boy, bye. Or how about this girl bye? It ain't just so and I don't experience it as much because I kind of have that energy like I ain't the one. But that comes over time. That comes with maturity. But when you fresh off the boat from whatever city you done came from, across the country, across the world, and you was the baddest thing in your town, and everybody told you was that thing, and you beautiful, you have body, you have this, or you're handsome, and you are a model, and so you think you come into this town, you special. You find out quick, no, you're not.
It's 150 of them just like you.
You go to the ocean versus you was a little guppy, you was a big fish in the pond, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's interesting.
What I hear you saying is, because of human nature, our desire to succeed, to be successful, to want to be more than what we are, we put ourselves in scenarios that might be to our detriment because we want something so badly.
Yeah, I would say you don't even. I mean, I think I know why you said put yourself in scenarios. I think you end up in scenarios.
I'll take that. Take
that because you don't see it coming.
Okay, so Rynell is saying, no, you put yourself in those scenarios.
I would say yes.
Rynell, you have to hold on.
Though. I understand what he's saying, but that's why I say it's a. I see why that's said, okay. But there's also times where you end up in scenarios that you can be in the most professional offices. You drive to Beverly Hills. You can go to and do all the things. You got the referral from someone and then you're sitting there, and then it's something different than what you could have ever imagined. And so I wouldn't say you put yourself there, but there's also the put yourself there. There is also like
so it's not so much black and white, but there's some neutral. So Rynell, what were you saying? Because I saw your face. You were like, no, you put yourself in.
Well, yeah, because you go after what you want, right? And if you see an opportunity, especially a big fish in a small pond going into a big pond, and now you're one of the rest. Right?
I call it a guppy in the ocean.
Yeah, a guppy in the ocean. Once you see that, you're like, okay, what do I have to do in order to separate myself or to be seen by said person that's going to boost my career?
Mhm.
And I mean, when we talk about relationships, especially toxic relationships, like those women that, you know, chase after those men with the power, with the money, with the fame, they're after the same thing that all other women are when it comes to a relationship. And that's the security of their, you know, spouse, but then also their lifestyle.
Mm. Mm.
Their lifestyle. It's like, man, you know, I put up with this because this is the lifestyle I want.
Okay.
And
What
I'm
if?
willing to go ahead.
Can I just to
I'm
that
willing to
point?
deal with. Yeah, I was just thinking about I'm willing to deal with whatever foolishness may come with it, because anybody that judges me or say anything different, they're just mad because they want to be in my same situation. So now they become
Oh, no,
haters.
what was that?
I think,
I said, so now a lot of outside voices that may be speaking reason into a toxic situation may be seen as they're against me, they're haters, they don't want to see me successful, they don't want to see, you know, me live the lifestyle and that I'm living. And ultimately that money, that power, that fame
Okay.
makes the lifestyle. So when I say no, like they got themselves or they put themselves there, again, not black and white, not black and white, but the gray space is ultimately like you want it to be in a position that you're now in. Then you have to figure out how to get out that situation ASAP.
well, I mean, I think it's no different in a situation where there's not money, power, and fame. There's also, if you're in
Correct.
you can, it's kind of the same. You feel like when you're in a relationship, you're gonna deal with something. Ain't no relationship perfect, and you got to work through things. And so, do I choose to work with this person who has the money or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever those things are, and whatever those challenges are, or do I have this person who may not have all those things, but I have true love here, so I'm gonna like deal with it over here. So it's like you're always weighing both sides. Like, is this worth moving forward? You know,
Do I deal with a man? Do I deal with a man that's gonna put his hands on me or cheat on me, that don't have any money, that doesn't take me on trips, that doesn't have, you know, or the pool to get me in certain rooms? Or do I deal with the man that is able to do all those things?
Well, if I can just jump in right there, because Zach said something that I think is interesting, responding to Cornisha. He said, Cornisha said, this is great insight. So many people tend to blame their downfall on on people or other things, but in actuality, it's their own weaknesses. And so I think that there's really this fine line here. And so to that, Zach responds and says,
I'm sorry, I just read that he didn't get the memo to wear something orange. Next time, Zach, next time, I'm looking for that.
Right. And then so Zach says to Cornisha, their own weakness is at least partly due to their socialization. And so that to me is just such a deeper level. I mean, I think it also goes to one's self-concept, because I always say you date and engage and marry at the level of your self-esteem or your self-concept. So much of who we become and what we do has to do with what we're willing to accept. And what we're willing to accept typically is based on, and I do agree, your socialization, but I think there's another level to that socialization, because then we have to get into the trauma piece. Because if you've been socialized in an environment where you've been traumatized, then now we have another issue. So let's say something that Princess said, let's just say, and I know this kind of story is a little bit true. There's somebody from Mississippi, and that person grew up. This beautiful girl grew up in a small town in Mississippi. She goes to Los Angeles. Now in Mississippi, she was the best thing going, but she gets to Los Angeles, and all of a sudden she finds herself in situations where, in order to survive, she's willing to do things that she never had to do before. But let's just say that in Mississippi, she grew up in a domestic violent home. Her standards were a little bit lower.
Mhm.
And so to that point, it's part of our socialization and who we are, but it's also part of our trauma. So thoughts
Mhm.
on that?
Well, let me get a little more clarity when you say do things that, well, you said do things that you wouldn't normally do. What was that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, haven't we all done things that we wouldn't normally do to survive? Well, look,
Yeah.
my book is called Hood to Hollywood because of a reason.
And it's a good book.
Cleaned toilets, and I've definitely walked miles. I've done stuff that I did not want to freaking do, or I felt like I was above, but I still did it because I had to do it to pay my rent or to do whatever.
Right.
And you know, I don't know if it always had to do with my self-esteem, or I just got to do what I got to do for right now so I can do what I want to do later.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, but doing, meaning doing what you would normally do. For example, Cassie said
I mean, morally.
Whatever
Okay.
you have to do to survive. Whatever you have to do to survive. So Cassie, if you look at some of the allegations, and even in her civil case, she said that she participated in the freak offs. She didn't want to, but she did it. And she said that was part of her humiliation and shame, but she did it out of fear. And she did it. And so that's to the extreme for sure. Is that fair to say?
Mhm.
And however, when we're talking about,
But it's a common thing. It's a common
Yeah.
thing, even though it's to the extreme. And
Oh,
I think we can't sweep under the rug the commonality of this type of behavior that's being done to folks, and it feeling like it's everyone does it, right? Like everyone has had this. So now it's a, it's a new trigger for that person, but it's something that, has been going on until, like what Cassie did, which is to check it by saying, hey, I'm going to speak up on the situation.
And so to that point, let me just say this. So when we're talking about, now, if I could just interject the mental health and trauma component to this, because toxic relationships, there are several different types of dynamics that take place. And so dependency is one of those. When you're talking about dependency, usually it's someone who is in need of something from someone else. So one partner might feel that they're completely unable to function or survive without the other. And so it could be financially, it could be emotionally, it could be psychologically, it could be whatever that is, that person has become dependent on the other. And so the dependency itself, it tends to lock, and this could be either or. I think someone in the chat earlier said something about the gender differences. It could be male or female. But what we see is the power dynamic mostly takes place with women. But what we see is it locks the victim in unhealthy relationships. And here's the key: longer than they would have stayed otherwise. And so when we look at the dependency dynamic, I can see how people get trapped. When we look at the isolation dynamic. One partner may isolate the other partner from family, from friends, and therefore weakening the support system and their support network. And again, that increases
Mm-hmm.
the dependency dynamic. And then
Mm-hmm.
finally, here's the one that I think is important. This one, and when I looked at Cassie's scenario with Diddy, I think this one, it speaks to what you were talking about, Princess. It's the cycles of reward and punishment. So if you're looking for, say, I don't know how you said it, Princess, but it was the, you can get me into places, that's a reward. You can give me things, that's a reward. There's something about what you're able to provide for me that becomes a reward. And
Mm-hmm.
so the abusive partner, usually what happens in this power dynamic is there's kind of this back and forth between, I'm going to be real nice to you, I'm going to give you things, I'm going to take you places, I'm going to do all this, and then a quick switch to very cruel interactions with the victim. And so what that does is the pattern itself, back and forth between love and hate, creates a psychological trap of the victim pursuing and striving for the good parts of the relationship until the bad parts come. And so those of you who are in, I'd love to hear what you all have to say in the chat. I know there's some therapists in the chat too. So go ahead, let us know what you all are thinking. But what do you guys think about those power dynamics?
Ladies first.
Are you going in the chat or here? I thought you were going in the
Oh yeah,
chat.
both. The chat. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, it's not my turn.
She's like,
That's why I said ladies first. I could.
I mean, you said a lot of things. Okay, so we're talking specifically about the power dynamic.
I think that's a good description of toxic relationships.
The power dynamic?
But what Jada just said as far as the reward aspect and the chasing for.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's dependency, isolation, and the cycles of reward and punishment.
Yeah. Those are those right there to me are, I agree with all three of those. Those are red flags that you should be looking for in a person, in a relationship, to say, hey, if they have any of these, I don't need to spend much time involving myself, or should I say, I don't need to create compounding time to create a long-standing situation that makes it more difficult for me to get out of.
But does it, I mean, I thought about that in a couple of scenarios. One, that situation doesn't always present at first, right? You know, there's usually that, I don't know if you call it grooming in your world. It could be a grooming process.
Grooming, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I met the love of my life, and they give me flowers. They take me this place. They're so nice. They love my mother. They love their mother. All the checklists got
and love bombing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that what it's called? Ooh, that's
grooming and love bombing.
And love bombing. Look at me with my words. I got my.
What was? What was the show that you had? Gray. I mean, the guy's name was Gray. What was the show or the movie? The book that turned into a movie. Yeah, 50 Shades of Grey.
Not my movie. I was like, not my movie. But okay.
No. Remember that? 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, like, he showed all signs.
Right.
He showed all signs: the grooming, the reward, the isolation aspect, the control.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, what was interesting to me, you know, hearing the hype about the book, hearing the excitement about the movie, and then seeing it and saying, hold on, I'm confused. What are we excited about here? Because this is
Yeah.
All three, red flags, huge red flags that show that the situation can go left at any moment, anytime, and this person has the
If you are
money.
not exposed to those are red flags, then you're almost like an innocent bystander of what's happening to you. You don't know what's happening. Like if you especially if you're a young girl, because if we go back to Cassie,
Yeah, the
Cassie was
grooming aspect. Yep.
14 years old when Puffy met her. May have been older, but that was younger. And the reason why I say that because when girls come into the industry and they first break them, and they sometimes will make them either a little older or younger, just depending on whatever they're trying to market them as. But let's just say 19. When I think about myself at 19 years old, I would have never known any of those things was a sign. I would have thought someone is being nice to me. Oh, he really likes me. All of these different things. I mean, as the woman I am today, I'm like, boy, bye. I keep saying that only because I have been around and matured and seen so many things that now I know what to look for. I have a toolbox. I have family. I have Ronell. I can call a man and I talk to Ronell. I'm like, okay, what did you think about this right here? This might go off my grid right here. So I need to know. And I will go talk to a real man. So I have those resources. At 19, I don't even know to ask somebody. Especially if you did not have a father growing up.
Yeah,
these things.
absolutely.
I don't know what Cassie's background is, but I'm saying at 19, did you not talk about Jada, that your brain is not even fully formed?
Yeah.
So anybody can tell you anything. And you like,
but that's the point. I think that's the point. How much grooming took place, how much love bombing took place, and how much and I'm going to say we, because all of us are, when you look at humanity, we all want to be connected. We want to be loved. We want to love and be loved. We all the things. And then you make the decisions and you enter into these places and you like, how did I get here? Like, I didn't even know this was happening. And so Cornisha makes a good point. She says, I think individuals being aware of the signs, but if they never been taught or informed, then they're more likely to accept behaviors they normally wouldn't. I like it.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
I like it. Yeah. And so we're going to start winding down here, but I definitely want to do a part 2 of this because I didn't nearly get to the things that I wanted to talk about. But what I would like to do is, if you haven't done so, excuse me, if you haven't done so already, will you please hit the like button, and if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to continue to do these. I don't market the lives as much as I should. I probably should do more, but let your friends know that we go live. And I want, Princess, will you please come back again so we can keep this conversation going?
We just got to coordinate.
Same. We got to coordinate.
Hey, Ronell, where are you going?
I'm coming from South Carolina. We just had a commercial shoot, myself and Carter back there. He's back there. So,
Hi, Carter.
Yeah, so he's been a good trooper. We had a family or father-son shoot for a commercial and for a national brand. So it'll be coming out soon and headed back to Atlanta.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
all right, y'all.
But I would like to say something. I'm glad that we're having these moments, these conversations, these discussions, because this is the thing that's necessary. I do believe in the conversations that need to happen to the younger generation, right? But then also we need to have these conversations so that we can be better educated and aware of our responsibility as, adults, as mature individuals in our families, to see those red flags for them. Because the worst thing is to see it and not say anything and see them go through it and say, I've seen it the whole time. So So if we can, kind of learn more and have these conversations and be more proactive with kind of just keeping our community safer, I think it's a good thing. Thank you
I
for having this space.
I love it. I love it. And so, one thing I would like to do is show you all this is called the Duluth model. The Duluth model. And this is a very interesting on. Please ask for help. And if you are afraid, there are hotlines, and we'll put them in the chat. There are places you can call. Your mental health is so very important. So I just want you all to remember that. I want to thank Miss Adrienne for being here and monitoring the chat. Thank you. And thanks to all of you who have dropped in. We're going to go ahead and end. And please continue to look for the next time we will go live. And I can't wait to see you. So thanks for being here, everybody.